First off, as politics aside, it's especially with a lot of rhetoric going on, how unfortunate it is to mess up a count right now, and that's a hard thing. And I know that there are difficult staffing and things like that, but that's a bit hard on you, to like they lost 600 votes and it's hard enough to be a write-in or something like that. So for your first election going through that, how was that, going through that?
Well, I think the word choice that the Roanoke Times used with lost was unfortunate given the rhetoric that we've seen since 2020 and the continued conspiracy theories coming out of one side of the aisle. Um, the votes weren't actually lost at any point. What had happened was you've got all of these really hardworking volunteers. They've got machines out in the front. Did you guys vote early this year? Or did you vote on election day?
I write in.
Wrote in. Yeah, if you voted early in person, there's a machine out in the lobby that you'd go and stick your vote into. And so many people had voted early that at some point they had to come out and replace the machines. And so when they tallied the receipts that came out at the end, everything was fine. Nobody else's votes were miscounted. But when we're on like day, I don't know, 6 of counting the write-in votes, someone had forgotten that there were 2 machines out there. And so the second machine that had received the ballots into them, it just wasn't included in the total count. So they had kind of gotten the preliminary count together and then did the math and were like, well, we're 600 and something shy of the total number of votes here. So what in the world is going on? And God bless the Roanoke Times, but they've been absolutely gutted by what is it, Lee Enterprises, whoever owns it now.
That was my first newspaper job. So, but
Really,
I agree with you a lot there for sure. So yeah.
so I mean, they've got incredibly professional and talented staff that are really passionate about what they're doing. I don't think they're well supported by the organization they work for. But I cut the reporters a ton of slack over there because they are, I mean, understaffed and overworked. But on the subject of understaffed and overworked, our our wonderful registrar Connie Vire, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk with her, but she runs a top-notch shop over there. And the electoral board, of course, composition changed recently. It's now 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat, but all 3 of them were wonderful to work with. They were, Johnny on the spot with everything, and all of the officers of election that were working with them were absolute aces. I was an officer of election in 2020. Um, Worked that 13-hour day at the polls there, helping people cast their ballots. It is not something I would wish on my worst enemy, but it's an important part of I think democratic participation. So yeah, everybody involved in the process was doing their best. I will say, after 9 days of waiting to know whether we've won or lost, I think I'm starting to notice a few gray hairs here and there, which is no good at 24. But it was certainly I think we can call it a stress test of the system, and the system works. My advice to write-ins are awful. Write-ins are no fun. So securing ballot access, I would say, should be priority number one for anyone in the future. And I know Mr. Johnson, who I ran against, feels very much so the same way. That it's a lot easier when the instruction is fill in the bubble and not here's how you spell my name.